Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown!
Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one!
Oladipo!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
we've already started, I guess.
It's weird. So the timing with this, for those of you who are listening, I saw Jim walking up into his seat, and so I thought he was going to come in and do the intro. So I apologize for the awkward opening, but Jim is with us here at Bibi's Market, and I guess we're as always. You never know what's going to happen on Fridays live from Bibi's Market, but he's getting hooked up. Dustin with us as always from Indiana Sports Beat Radio, or we're Indiana Sports Beat Radio. He's from Outsider.com, but joining us now is your host, Mr. Jim Coyle. Looks like he's getting his headphones plugged up. Jim, are you here with us right now?
Absolutely. I had them plugged up. I just I got tangled up, man. Got tangled in my tanglement. But yeah, hello, sports fans. Welcome to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio, heard on great stations like 97.7 ESPN, The Ref in Evansville, WBRO in Marengo, and around the world on YouTube, where you should subscribe and please hit the like button. It's a great help to us. That way you never miss an interview, like the exclusive interviews we had from Big Ten Basketball Media Days this week with Mike Woodson, Trace Jackson-Davis, Race Thompson. We're brought to you by Andy Moore Honda, AndyMooreHonda.com. You will always find the best deals on new and used vehicle, and Endeavor Hospitality's Wow Club. Be sure to go to your Apple app or Google App Store and sign up and start earning wow rewards today from great places like Bibi's Market, where we are each and every Friday. Chef JD's usually bringing out some tasty little treats for the people who like to go tailgating for this weekend. Indiana playing at home against Maryland, but make sure you join us each and every Friday from here. I'm Jim Coyle, of course, like I said. Dustin Schutte with us, back from Minneapolis, which yesterday was back, but today it just feels like the first day back. It took a minute to get over that. That was a whirlwind, man.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but when you were in Minneapolis, when you came back, it's a big week. This is a sign of basically the start of college basketball season. And then obviously we've got 5 Big Ten football games this weekend. The MLB playoffs are in full swing. We got a couple games tonight. NFL season I just get so excited talking about this time of year because it's so exciting, but a lot of great content you got from Minneapolis. We obviously got a great story from Margot, the rally girl. It's been a hell of a week.
I haven't. I'm still contemplating to continue with that. I'm doing the last.
I don't know if Jim's audio is cutting out, or if it's on my end. And John, the producer, stepped away because he's grabbing coffee. I'm not sure if this is on Jim's end or on my end, so I'll just keep. It's been a big week. We've got Indiana and hosting Maryland this week. It should be an exciting game. One thing we talked about on This Week in Indiana Football was the fact that I think personally this game could be a strange matchup for could be a
you guys can hear me.
Yep. Now you keep cutting out, Jim.
Cutting out apparently. So Dustin.
So one of the things, I'll go up on this Maryland Indiana thing just as a preview, because we talked about this on This Week in Indiana Football, this pod with Mitchell Paige, Joe the producer, John the producer. One of the things I think is going to be really interesting is I think potentially Maryland could be a worse matchup for Indiana than Michigan was. Last week, Mitchell brought this up, the fact that I think Indiana could have stopped the run, and they proved that they could stop the run against Michigan. They did a great job on Blake Corum, but Maryland has a really good set of receivers. They've got a great passing attack. Taulia Tagovailoa is starting to hit into a little bit of a rhythm, John. They've got, I think it's 5 now, maybe 5 receivers over 200 yards this season. And Indiana's secondary has not played well. So that's why I think potentially, while I think the talent-wise Indiana matches up better with Maryland, I think schematically it's going to be really interesting to see if the Hoosiers can keep Maryland from throwing the ball all over the field, because that's been one of their biggest issues so far this season.
Better than with whom?
Michigan.
Well, who doesn't match up better with Maryland than Michigan? I mean,
Well,
no one's going to match up well with Michigan.
No,
They're a better team.
I'm saying
because they're a throwing team.
Yes, because of how well they throw the ball, because of all the passing weapons they have, and because of how poorly Indiana's secondary has been this season. Like,
I don't know that that's a better matchup though for Indiana.
No. I'm saying it's not. I'm saying Michigan might have actually been a better matchup for Indiana because they focus on running the football, and as Mitchell brought up last week, Indiana has been okay at stopping the run, and they, outside of that 50-yard run from Blake Corum, they held him to 74 yards on 24 carries, and that's about as good as you can do on a player like that.
I'm looking quickly to see what is the current spread on this game. Is it still around 3 points?
It was 11. Maryland was favored by 11.
Oh, wow, really?
I don't know.
It's 11 and a half.
Ooh, so it went up half point, yeah.
So IU football is minus or plus 11 and a half versus Maryland. That's at home. That's what Vegas thinks of this passing game of Maryland's, and I can't argue with them. Now the over and under, a little high on that.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, that's a little rich for me at 62. We're not going to get into talking spreads right now. We'll do that later in the red zone, but so there's that. What other big games are you looking forward to this weekend?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of eyes, obviously, in the noon slot are going to be on Penn State and Michigan. Penn State had 2 weeks. That's the first true Big Ten clash of this season. Yep.
Where is this game?
Ann Arbor.
That's going to be I don't know how good Michigan is. I've been saying that they could be the best team in the Big Ten, but after watching them against Indiana, looked very vanilla.
Yep.
I don't know if that was with purpose, knowing that all we have to do is run our practice out here and be successful. There is no need for them to show anything against Indiana. Just hand the ball off. So I don't know how much I can gauge by that. So this game, though, there's no holding back.
No.
They're going to have to bring it. So this will determine who is going to challenge Ohio State. Now, I didn't think it would be Penn State, although at the beginning of the year they went down and just beat the tar out of Auburn.
Yep.
I didn't think that they were that strong, especially you've got a quarterback that's been there forever, which is great. But when you have a quarterback that's been there forever, that means he's not good enough to go to the next level.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's a Peyton Ramsey situation.
Mm-hmm. That's a great comparison.
Well, and they played against each other in high school, ironically. But so there's that. We'll look forward to talking about that. We'll hear more from Big Ten basketball media days as that has come and gone. Little fallout. Yeah, we'll talk about. We didn't really talk about it a lot, but Jeff Goodman sent out a tweet that the coaches were not happy that it was being held in Minneapolis. Media wasn't very happy that it was being held in Minneapolis, and it had nothing to do with the city per se of Minneapolis or the people of Minneapolis. It's just a pointless location. It is not close to anything besides Santa's workshop. And there's no reason for it to be held there. It gained, I'll tell you what it gained. The goal was to increase the coverage in other areas. He increased the coverage in a small area of Minnesota, but he lost everything else because no one was there.
Right.
No one that matters was there.
Except for Indiana Sports Beat and the Hoosier.com.
Of course. Exactly. Which that was to our great benefit. But now this tournament, the basketball tournament is coming to Minneapolis in 24.
Yep. Well, you won't have there won't be any trouble drawing a crowd for the tournament, but for media day,
but that should tell them something.
Yes, I agree. I do agree.
That should tell them something. That was, I mean, I don't want to. I'm trying to be not as PC as possible, but I think that was just a personal thing by Kevin Warren. He is from Minnesota and said, I can do this, so I'm going to swing this stick and I'm going to bring this to Minnesota. Here's the thing. Again, I said it's nothing about the people in Minneapolis. Minneapolis didn't even know this thing was going on.
It didn't.
I'm not
based on
kidding.
what you were telling me, I didn't seem like it.
You walk outside the hotel. If this was Indianapolis, there are banners up. Big Ten basketball media day, boom, up on up on the stadium. Big banners all around the center of the city there. You know something's happening.
Yep.
The only sign I saw was the sandwich board sign outside of the doors where we entered to go in. And I looked around, nothing.
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
It was just weird. It was just a weird situation.
Well, and I mean, you're asking a lot of people to travel quite a ways like I said, one of the biggest problems is you're doing this in the middle of football season when people already have to travel enough. Minnesota didn't have a home game. They're playing at Illinois. So even the Minnesota media, they're going to have to go to Champaign this week. So it didn't even really benefit them. So it was just kind of bizarre. Like, I mean, you can have success with these things in Chicago and Indianapolis, but Minneapolis, it's just too far. It's like when they held the March Madness, the Big Ten tournament in Washington, D.C. I mean, it was just kind of a disaster for everybody. I understand
that wasn't as big a disaster as this.
No, but I mean, in terms of a tournament, it probably was. New York City is probably pretty cool because of the Madison Square Garden.
Absolutely, I'd do it again.
Yeah, but there's nothing really to draw you from Washington, D.C. It's not an easy city to get around. Chicago's kind of that way too, but at least there's a way to get to and from the United Center. Indianapolis is fantastic because it's very walkable. You can go out in between the individual sessions and you can go out and get grab some dinner or a drink or whatever and go back in. I mean, this is probably me doing some home cooking, but I love it when it's in Indianapolis, whether it's the tournament or media days, because it's so conveniently located. Chicago's not a bad option. They do it right. The headquarters are there, so they know what they're doing. But
nobody doesn't like Indianapolis, baby.
You know what? I've talked with a lot of people in the media from different teams, and outside of a handful, everybody agrees. Like everything should be held in Indianapolis. That's a consensus.
That's like nothing to do with this, but the unofficial official Big Ten media poll that came out, Hunter Dickinson ended up winning preseason player of the year selection by one vote.
Oh, wow.
That one vote was by an Iowa beat writer who voted for Chris Murray, who averaged 0 points last year. Kyle bringing out some tastiness here, though. Kyle, what do we got?
This is the ultimate biscuit. It's spinach, avocado, egg, and cheese. Then your bacon, lettuce, tomato on a homemade biscuit.
Did you hear that?
I did.
Say it one more time in case they didn't hear it.
All right. So our ultimate biscuit. You got egg, avocado, spinach, lettuce, tomato.
Look at that. A little salt, pepper, a little seasoning. Chef JD is on assignment today, FYI. We've got Chef Kyle. But Kyle, thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you. Just another one of the great dishes pre-made.
Why don't you hold it up? We can't see it.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I'm going to. I got to get a good hand on this stuff.
We got smell-o-vision over here.
Oh, man, that biscuit. Too bad for you all. But I'm not going to take a bite yet. I'll wait till the break because this biscuit is just delicious.
It's break time.
Perfect. Break time. That means I get to take a bite. Hey, we're at Bibi's Market, part of the WOW Club. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Make sure you stop out here anytime you got the opportunity. We're here each and every Friday, bringing it to you, coming to you live, and looking forward to that as we prepare for the weekend. Maryland coming into Bloomington, Indiana hosting them on this football weekend. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting.
Well, that biscuit just fell apart. It was so good. Oh.
Hey, give me one more segment to get the Media Days clips. I've got them downloaded, but I don't have anything cut up. So by 9:10, if you want to use anything from Trace, Race, or Mike Woodson, I'll have 2 or 3 things for you.
Anything we haven't used. The Kentucky thing is something I want to send that out on Twitter. Everybody keeps talking about it. I'm the only person that has talked to Mike Woodson about it. Gotta get that out. Gotta get that
boom,
out.
Boom, boom. Gotta get boom, boom, boom.
Okay, let's see. What else do we have going on here? I gotta get back.
What do you want, Miss Luna?
I have not acknowledged our peeps on the Andy Moore Honda hotline yet. I need a freaking cable's rocking. It drives me insane. I don't know what happened early on. John, you'll have to check early in the broadcast. We had a technical issue.
See the nerd. Come here.
What are you talking about?
When you were gone, we had a technical issue.
Oh, what was it?
Jim was cutting out. I took over, dominated the show, dominated the airwaves.
But I thought it was him cutting out, so I took him out of the stream for a minute. There may be a hole.
Or of course that happened.
My thing never went away.
Well, good.
So I think I was in here the whole time. I think. If not, I was just talking to myself.
You might have been. Yeah.
Jim's got a biscuit. My biscuit's on the couch. We got Miss Luna in here.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. Hello, Luna. She looks like she's camera shy.
She just wants attention. She loves having her belly rubbed. Biscuit's on the couch. Very jealous.
Damn.
All right. You want down?
All right. We got 15 seconds. And he's standing up. Jesus
She's just
Christ.
going to lay on me, isn't she? Yep.
Here we go.
We should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, where each and every Wednesday at 7:05 you can find the man, Don Fisher, the voice of the Hoosiers, along with Indiana football coach Tom Allen for Inside Indiana Football. Enjoy a great meal there. Use your WOW Club. Earn bonuses. End up getting free meals there, man. Welcome back. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com with us on this pre-college football weekend. Looking forward to Zach Osterman later joining us, as well as Jeffrey the Greek for the Red Zone and Mitchell Paige. I noticed Jim Leonard, the interim coach at Wisconsin, they had an issue with Logan Brown, one of their top players in the league, and he's in the portal. Had an incident at practice, got in a fight, hit somebody, fist fight, and he gone. So things aren't all peaches and cream at Wisconsin right now.
No.
It's weird to see teams like Wisconsin. Nebraska, they've been in turmoil for a while. I hate to say this because everybody has said it so much, but it is so much like what has gone on with Indiana basketball for so long. Hiring the wrong people, hiring and or firing the wrong people. As a matter of fact, that was something that Tom Izzo said specifically about Indiana and the program the other day. But that is what's going on in Nebraska football. Very similar, but Indiana has finally looks to have gotten their situation turned around in the basketball side, at least heading in that direction. So, but to see it at Wisconsin, they have been so long. But this maybe is a reason why that there was a fire. This is maybe that was the culture that we don't know about that was turning sour, and that was known up there.
Well, one of the things I've told people to keep an eye on is the fact that Paul Chryst took a smaller buyout, and look, it's still $11 million, but so I think $5 million less than he was guaranteed.
Why? Why would you do that? Who does that?
Correct.
Who does that?
Right. That's
Nebraska wanted to get rid of Scott Frost so bad they didn't wait 2.5 weeks to save $7.5 million.
Exactly. So to me, that spoke to one of two things. Either number one, there were some things happening behind the scenes that we didn't know of, that Barry Alvarez, who was there, was very good at kind of keeping hush-hush. And I'm not saying it's anything severe or majorly serious or anything like that. I'm just saying there have been some things that have gone on with Wisconsin that have looked unfavorable at times that nobody really talked about. I think Barry did a very good job of kind of keeping that under his hat. And then the other thought is, did Paul Chryst just want out? And that's not to say he was trying to lose. That's not to say.
Are you talking about who comes to mind? A guy named Bobby Petrino at Louisville.
Yep.
5 years ago, who I have never ever seen a coach quit on a team.
Yep.
Like he did at Louisville. Louisville paid him $14 million to walk away, but he quit on that team. They gave up 50 points in 5 games.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yep. I don't think Paul Chryst quit on his team. I think for the most part, I would say 99% of coaches take the field wanting to win a football game. That's the competitive nature. That's their ego. That's their they're in those positions for a reason. At the same time, all the changes in college football, NIL, transfer portal, all this other stuff that's going on, it makes me wonder if, look, Paul Chryst is what? I think he's 56, 57, somewhere in that neighborhood. Is he just, you know what? I've gotten Wisconsin to 3 Big Ten championship games. I've gone to an Orange Bowl. I've gone to a lot of BCS games. We've done really well. This is as far as I can take this program. I'm going to ride off into the sunset, and then I'm going to, I'm going to go call plays somewhere. I'm going to coach quarterbacks. I'm going to coach. I'm going to be the offensive coordinator because that's what he did before. So I'm not saying that is what happened. I just think it's a very strong possibility because to me, the fact that he took $5 million less, one of those two things has to be true. Either he wanted out or something was going on behind the scenes. And Chris McIntosh, Wisconsin's athletic director, said, enough is enough. We got to make a change. This program's not heading in the right direction. Let's see what Jim Leonard can do with it. And obviously, they beat Northwestern 42-7. He's dismissed a former 5-star offensive lineman. He's not afraid to make this his program. We've seen that pretty clearly through just the first 10 days of it.
Yeah, easily. I'm sitting here looking at Andy Katz's top rankings of transfers for college basketball and noting how many of these guys are on teams that are on Indiana's schedule.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a lot.
Well, I've just gotten through the top 15 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ooh.
6 of the top 15, including number 1 and 2.
Wow.
Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the top 10.
So half the top 10 is on the schedule.
Yes.
Wow.
The number 1 transfer that he ranked was Terrence Shannon to Illinois. And I talked about Illinois. I said, you better not sleep on them because they have reloaded. And it's not just with one guy, but ranked as the top. Andy Katz ranked him as the top transfer. But Pete Nance, who went to North Carolina, what a great move that was for him. Of course, Indiana playing the Tar Heels in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Dawson Garcia to Minnesota. Isaac Lakikali is at Ohio State. Kevin McCullough is at Kansas. And Jameer Young to Maryland. Maryland is another school. Not getting a lot of talk right now, but they're doing very well in recruiting, kind of flying under the radar there. Just saying.
Well, Kevin Willard did pretty well at Seton Hall. Maryland, I'm skeptical. I know we talked to Stephen Bardo. He said that they're a dark horse from the pieces they've added, from the guys they have coming back. I'm still not quite convinced. I think if they have a good season, for them would be to sneak into the NCAA tournament, in my opinion. That doesn't mean they can't.
Illinois?
No, Maryland.
Oh.
No, it's Illinois.
I agree. I'm not quite sure they're there.
Right. Yeah,
I agree. I know they got a lot of great pieces coming, and I'm just not sure they're there. But sometimes you play above your raisins. I mean,
right.
Wisconsin was picked 7th last season, I believe.
I was just going to say, Greg Gard has made a career out of low expectations, high results. So who's to say Kevin Willard can't do the same in his first year at Maryland? I don't see it, but I think they could be a tournament team. I just don't think they're going to be a dark horse to win the Big Ten. I just don't think, based off of last season.
I will guarantee you they don't win the Big Ten.
I don't even think they'll be in a contender. Like, to me, a contender would be top 4 or 5. I think
could have been a contender. I could have been a somebody.
He loves it.
Yeah,
on the waterfront.
By the way, baby.
By the way, this is off topic. Does anybody how do you say water? Because I've noticed a lot of people say water.
Well, I don't know any of those people. Because how do you spell wooter?
Wooter.
Wooter?
Like wooter, yeah. Like wooter.
Like WOODER? Wooter?
Yeah, wooter.
Well, they're not using the proper consonants. There's an A in there that starts.
They're not. I'm just saying.
Water.
But I swear, over the past, I don't know, 5 to 6 months, I have heard so many people say wooder, and I had never heard it in my previous 34 years.
There's a lot of funky.
You say creek
accents. Creek, man. It's a creek. Okay. How do you spell it? I answer these questions very easily. It's CREEK.
That's true. You do have a good reasoning behind them.
Crick is CRICK.
And it's in your neck.
Yeah, I got a crick in my neck. No creeks running through my neck. Absolutely not. Yeah, there's hey, man, Indiana alone, you go from the top to the bottom of the state of Indiana. Big difference. But the funniest thing is the most southern accent in Indiana is not in the most southern part of the state.
Okay.
That happens if you're from Scottsburg or Austin area.
Okay. That's interesting.
Do you want me to tell you why?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is my opinion.
I did not know this.
There is a canning factory in Austin, Indiana, I believe. I cannot recall the name of it, but I believe it moved up there in like the 50s from that town that Jennifer went and saw Snoop Dogg in down in Corbin, Kentucky. That's a whole different story there.
I love how you remember the town of Snoop Dogg and where Jennifer saw that concert.
Buddy, when you get Snoop Dogg in Corbin, Kentucky, you don't forget that.
There you go.
But anyway, yeah, I think that factory moved from Corbin, Kentucky up to Austin in the 50s, because if you go through there, you'll see some UK signs. But it is the accent from the people that live in that area is, some of them are very Southern. Doesn't mean anything. I'm not cracking on, just pointing out how things happen. Boom, there you go.
That's interesting. That's probably exactly what it was.
I can't imagine anything else. Why else would it be? Hey, everybody up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. How's everybody doing? Mike, Josh, how are you doing, sir? Michael, Tim, let's see, Larry on as well. Alan, 5 lefts. Craig, Tanis, half 11. Forrest back on. Leslie. I'm going to make sure I don't miss anybody. Jennifer, she's in love with Luna. Let's see, I think I've hit everybody. Dwayne, there we go. I think I got everybody. So there you go. Tim's going all DD on us there in the comments. I won't be mentioning that. I'll leave that.
Probably smart.
Yeah, I'll leave that for other people to get lawsuits over. Not me, baby. Not me. Yeah, this weekend's football game, Indiana hosting Maryland, with one of the opportunities that's running out for them to win a football game.
Man,
Maryland,
how good would you know what's
Rutgers,
crazy?
I don't know who else to put in there. I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody keeps saying, oh, you got Purdue. Why are you putting Purdue in there? Purdue beat Minnesota already, A. Purdue is fighting for a division championship.
I think Purdue is the least winnable, but I would throw Michigan State in there.
Okay, is Michigan State the most shocking team in the Big Ten this year? It is to me. What Mel Tucker did when he came in there, changed that. Boom. How do you follow it? He gets that big fat double-digit $1 million contract, and now they suck.
You know what? That's tough to answer. I still think Wisconsin, because of how bad they looked in losses to Illinois.
That's
Ohio State.
But there's got to be something going on there that we don't know about, that we both know that. So that shouldn't be that's only a surprise because we didn't know about stuff. Michigan State's a surprise because
I think
why are they not? They should be good. They've been doing so well recruiting wise. The program is up and running now. Is this his third year?
This is 2020, 21. Yes, year 3. Yep.
This is his third year. Things would just have done nothing but go forward. And man, you talk about this is a la 2020 for Indiana football, or 2022 for Indiana football, or 2021 rather, whatever you want to say. Last, it's like Indiana last year,
right?
Following up that big season before that, but they are just going into the tank. Big Lee walking into the house here at Bibi's as well. You got to get him fed.
Hey, and you mentioned the fact that Purdue is fighting for a Big Ten West title. You know who else is fighting for a Big Ten West title?
Illinois, the Illini. That's right. And
good point, John.
That win over Iowa has sent them on a trajectory.
Yes. I mean they are.
Brett Bielema has already secured Big Ten Coach of the Year. You can put that in the bank. Guaranteed you.
I can't remember. We talked about this on the Eyes on Big podcast. Jeffrey the Greek had the stat, and I don't remember it for sure. I think Brett Bielema already he's either tied or has more wins than Lovie Smith in 2 years against Big Ten West teams, as Lovie Smith had in 4.5 or however many games he coached. I think really 5. So just to show you how much Brett Bielema has that thing up and running right now, how quickly it took. And they have some talented players, but they are not like a superior talented team. So that just goes to show when you get the right guy in the right place who knows what he's wanting to do, and you get everybody bought in, how quickly things can change.
Absolutely. Now he is benefiting from a couple things, and I wish Jeffrey the Greek was on here with me when I say this. He's in the Big Ten West, which is always going to give you somewhat of an opportunity, but This is a particular year where they just don't have any good teams. They got some good teams, but they don't have any really good teams. There's no team that is there an above average team in that division? Above average?
I would put Purdue and Minnesota and Illinois in the above average right now. I think they're good teams. Well, what would you define as average?
Okay, then barely above. They're just above average. That's it. Above average. I'll let that go. Above average. Okay, they're above average. But there's no really good teams in that.
There's no elite level team. I agree.
No elite. There's no really good ones. There's another level between elite and really good, and they don't have either of those.
Here's what I would like to know. I would like to see the Purdue Minnesota game with a healthy Mohamed Ibrahim.
Hey, I gotta keep up. We is it break time?
It is.
All right, it is perfect time. Hey, don't forget, Go Team, one of our great sponsors. I happen to look into the right behind me here. Yeah, I've never seen this, but we got a whole thing of these Go Teams. They're just all into. I thought they might be individuals. Got vegan cinnamon swirl, peanut butter cup. That's what those flavors are. All kinds of different flavors. Chocolate. Actually, is that M&M? I'm trying to not lose my earpiece as I turn around. But I'm going to take it out so I can. There's salted caramel snickerdoodle, unicorn, and mint chocolate chip. All kinds of different flavors and much, much more. And we've got much more coming up for you here at the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Mobile is where you're at Bibi's Market here on this Friday before game day as Indiana takes on Maryland this week. Lee's in the house. We're going to get him some breakfast before we come back, and then we'll be back with more here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Golfers, here's got to get the TV in here, man.
I got 4 clips. If he doesn't use them, I'm never getting clips again. I'm going to get my coffee.
Hey, Five Lefts mentioned something about Atlanta in here. Do you live in Atlanta, Five Lefts? Because if so, I'm going to need you to get me a place. I'm looking to move back.
At the Big Ten Media Day, except for a guy that was one of my employees.
I was on the outskirts in Kennesaw. I'm looking to get back there. Tannis, Jim. Mel Tucker pulled a Roy Hibbert. He cashed that check and checked out. That's
hard to make that switch.
Big Ten West. Oh, he had a friend live there. All right. Well, I need you to hit up your friend and see if we can get Dustin back in the ATL.
Right, yeah, I didn't think about that.
We got Ross. We are not making fun of Southern Kentucky. Would never. Oh, Michael's heading to Canton today. That's awesome. Family visit. Are you going to any of the parks around there, Michael? I think I'm headed up to Woodstock here in a few weeks.
I'll get this opened up.
That's going to be awesome.
Oh, right now I think Zach's going to be joining us here soon. But glasses.
You're gonna have to share your photos, Michael. You're heading there at the perfect time. Down here in Florida, it doesn't get any. It's constantly summer.
Oh, wow. Have a wham burger.
I will have a wham burger. Call the wham.
Hey, Jimbo, I've got 4 clips for you. 4 clips. Now you can hear me.
I can.
2 from Mike Woodson, 1 from Trace, 1 from Race. Mike Woodson talking about beating the odds as a head coach from the NBA. Also about winning a Big Ten title. Trace talking about shooting.
Hey, what about the Kentucky part?
God. I'll get
Dude,
it, but just hold
for the
on.
love of God, I've been asking for it for 2
You wanted
days.
new stuff. You said you wanted new stuff. I'll get that too. Hold on. We're coming back.
Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Coming to you here on this beautiful Friday from Bibi's Market, of course, the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit, as we are down here at Bibi's, a part of the Wow Club. Make sure you go sign up, start earning Wow rewards today. Great place to come catch a meal. Get your pre-made tailgating materials. They can pre-make anything, but also this is the most incredible meats that you're going to find around. I had last night, I made the sun-dried tomato and herb marinated chicken.
Ooh.
And it was, I've had 4 different ones of them, and they're all good, but that may have been my favorite.
I'm not a big sun-dried tomato fan.
Dude, you don't
taste it?
No, it's just a very, very moist, tender chicken that tastes good. And I use afterwards I use their tailgater's beer mustard.
Oh yeah, I need to get my hands on it.
That just over the top.
Yes. That would be you know what I would love to have that with? Do you like Scotch eggs?
Do they have Scotch in them?
No, they do not.
Well, good. No, I do not like. If Scotch eggs have Scotch in them, I don't like them, Lee.
They it's
what
basically
in the world does Scotch eggs have in them? Then I cannot get this stupid thing up. I'm trying to get.
It's basically a hard-boiled egg wrapped in sausage,
that
and
sounds
then
good.
Seasoned with breadcrumbs, and then a bunch of different spice, and then you deep fry it, and then you typically serve it with some sort of mustard. I think it would be really good in that. Usually, I go with like the what you call it, the horseradish mustard. Because I like a little spice, but I'm guessing that beer mustard. Whew. Breakfast tailgate.
It's no joke. It's for real good.
Yeah.
I'm not a big beer mustard fan. It's okay. It's just this. I can't wait. I try to make excuses to use it, to be honest with you. We got to get Lee on some of that.
You just make everything you can, and then put mustard on it. Doesn't matter what it is. Got spaghetti.
Just this beer mustard, this tailgaters.
That's what I'm saying.
Business. Oh yeah, it's incredible.
It's like Buddy the Elf with syrup. He puts syrup on everything. We see you start putting beer mustard on spaghetti, on your breakfast, whatever you can do.
That's pretty much it.
There you go. I like it.
Pretty much it. I'm getting Lee hooked up so he can just hear the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we've got to get him. They're still.
We got to know what Lee's order is for breakfast. Does he get
Lee, what's Lee going to get for breakfast?
What I get? Quesadilla.
You know what he said?
With brisket.
I'll have the quesadilla.
With brisket.
Do you get that though? I'll have the quesadilla.
Yeah.
Who's that? Who's that favorite song? Who's that favorite group from? Come on, guys. That's Nickelback, man. I want to be a rock star. The guy from ZZ Top.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
The quesadilla.
Yes.
I can't keep dropping this comedic gold and it just going to waste.
That's true.
That's good.
I'm going to turn this around so Lee can see it and everything. But, yeah, man, that was comic gold right there, man. You missed out on.
I didn't.
I'll have the quesadilla.
I knew it, but I couldn't place it.
I want to be a rock star. Pete jumping on. Said I missed the first 32-degree morning and their first snowfall up in Minneapolis. Damn.
Oh.
I'm so disappointed that I missed that.
Wait. It went from 70 degrees to 32?
No, it was 80.
It was. Oh, my God. 80
It got
degrees?
up to 80 in Minneapolis.
Wow. Okay. Well,
not that I got to enjoy it because I was inside the whole time. I was either in the hotel, getting up in the morning. It was
You were
cold.
at the cabaret across the street.
I was afraid to go to that place.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I think I got a pretty good idea what kind of cabaret that was. Not. We digress. Zach Ostman joining us next, I believe. Is that right, John?
No, I told you yesterday that we don't have Zach today.
So no, we don't have Zach today because he told me yesterday that we don't. Apparently, Michael jumping on says Dustin, North Georgia is beautiful. Great wishes this trip. He's taking care of his sister after hip surgery. So Michael, we're
nice.
wishing your sister a speedy recovery. So
Amicalola Falls, Blue Ridge, Cloudland Canyon, awesome. Get up there, do some hike. If you're an outdoor person, do some hiking. I'm going to try to get up there, see if I can. It's only a couple hours for me. So I love this time of year in North Georgia.
Mike says, John, the producer, needs some Nickelback. He's about to burn this to the ground.
That's a good song.
It's another Nickelback joke, for real. Hey, we will, in a month from now, almost exactly a month from now, there will be new Nickelback out. So get ready.
Oh, my God. So
we are so fired up.
You felt the need to really impart that knowledge that
I had to. Hey, if the hotline, if the Andy Moore Honda hotline is going to bring up Nickelback, when I don't, I'm going to take advantage of it.
That's true.
There's two things you do. You either run away from it or you lean into it. JTP,
Exactly.
We're too far away. We're too much into this. You've got to lean into your Nickelback fandom.
And you said far away. That's another Nickelback reference. How many more are we going to make in the next 5 minutes?
I did not know that.
I love the spelling of Margot, Tanis. I love the spelling of Margot, by the way. I wish I would have spelled it that way on her autograph sign that I gave her 2 nights ago. But he says, imagine Margot trudging across the tundra to snag a sign. I'm still in thoughts of whether or not to keep that going. Like I said earlier, on there they have a community thing on their Facebook page, and so I was like,
oh boy.
I'm thinking, all right, post the picture of her stealing the sign and the one of the new sign that's in her front yard that night, and say, hey, we just want to give a great shout out to our #1 fan. And while the show has gotten greatly popular, we could not be more fortunate about it. We just hit 1 million YouTube views. Now we've got people stealing our signs, which I guess is the ultimate mark of whatever. So here's a shout out, and I felt so happy about it. After all, I decided to give her another one and autograph it and put it in her yard. So if any of you, well, this is what I'm trying to tell you if I would write. So if any of you know her, please congratulate her. And whatever, just being silly. But yeah, Lee's got to go take care of his quesadilla. But so that's my thought.
I like it. No publicity is bad publicity.
You know what? And I've not heard anybody tell me no yet. I've talked to a couple people I thought would. I was hoping would say no. No, everybody is encouraging me to do it.
But, oh boy, you have bad friends then. Or maybe this person. I think
people like to see me get in trouble.
Oh, that's true.
What did you just say though?
I said maybe this person is just a pain in the ass all around.
I think that I don't know them. I have heard that is a very, very distinct possibility.
Okay, that makes sense. Otherwise, like I said, I just don't have the energy or I don't care.
Well, I didn't realize, and it took some energy because
that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, I played yesterday 9 holes, and I played that hole close to where this happened, and I realized how long of a walk that actually was, and how much trouble she actually had to go through to do this.
She ruined some aerated greens.
It was not. That was only half of it. It wasn't like she walked outside. It took 10 feet. This was some distance and uphill on a road.
She got her steps in, that's for sure.
I wish I had 10 of those signs because I would plant one every night.
That would be, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Just to keep going out there every morning and plant it out there. Oh,
sneaking out there at 4:30 in the morning. What I really would like is to make friends with someone who lives directly across the street and have them let me put one of our large banners out there.
You know what you need to do? I don't know how deep into the ground you can go, but you need something like a 8-foot wooden stake that you can, so that way she just can't get it out. Or
That's her private property.
No. I meant in the spot
where I put it.
Yeah, where you originally put it, not in her. Yeah. Don't destroy her lawn. I'm not going to encourage you to do that.
Yeah, I did not step onto the property. FYI, I was smarter than that. I just leaned over and placed it there.
It fell out of your car and directly.
I assumed she took one, so I assumed she was looking for another. So there is that. So basketball is now. How far away are we? I'm trying to think of the first game.
First game is November 7th. So what?
So we're like
less than a month, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, whatever that math comes out to.
That's incredible. I did not realize it was that soon.
Yep.
I'm
sure that.
Holy smokes!
And that's the first regular season game, I believe. The preseason will start maybe probably a week or two before that. So you're looking at just a couple weeks away from the Hoosiers and everybody else in the Big Ten getting on the basketball floor again. It's crazy how quickly it sneaks up on you. We're already in week 7 of the college football season. Half over.
Week 9 of high school football, I believe.
Yeah,
this is the last regular weekend, last regular scheduled game, Friday night. Get out, go see a high school football game tonight. It's the last regular season game. A lot of big games we talked about yesterday with Kyle Nedrip from the Indy Star. A lot of rivalries, but the last game before the playoffs, before that gets started. And yeah, week 7 of college football. That's nuts, man. But that means we still have 6 weeks of college football left, which is lovely.
Glass half full.
Got to do it. What are some of the other games outside of the Big Ten that we're going to be analyzing and looking at in the red zone when Jeffrey comes up?
Well, the biggest one is going to be that Alabama-Tennessee game. That's a top 6 game. Alabama, I think, is a 9-point favorite. I haven't checked today. They were up 8.5 has been where it's been. But I think there's 6 games. If I'm going to go through this really quick. 6 games, I think, featuring top 25 teams. Number 10, Penn State at number 5, Michigan. You've got number 3, Alabama at number 6, Tennessee. Number 8, Oklahoma State at number 13, TCU. Number 15, NC State at number 18, Syracuse. Number 16, Mississippi State at number 22, Kentucky. And number 7, USC at number 20, Utah. So whatever you have to do, college football fans, whatever you have to do, get it done before noon tomorrow. Get your beer, get your soda, get your chips, game day foods. Go to Bibi's Market, load up on the meat so you don't have to leave, and just sit on your ass and watch great college football from noon until midnight. It's going to be an awesome weekend of college football.
Yeah, Penn State is 7-point underdog.
Yep.
I'm looking down through here. Man. All right, here's one that there's no way I am not taking everything I can get on this. Kansas is a 9-point underdog to Oklahoma.
Yes, I would hop all over that. Yes.
I'm like, what are you, nuts?
Oklahoma has looked treacherous.
Oklahoma got beat 49-0 by TCU.
Yep.
And what did TCU and Kansas do? Was that just last week they played?
That was last week, and TCU won it by a touch. I think it was 38-31 or something like that. It was close.
Yeah, isn't Kansas's quarterback, Jalen Daniels, he's going to be out, right? I think that might be part of it.
Yeah, he might be.
Well, if that's a fact, then that's changed in everything.
Wait
on my parade, John. Rain all over it.
I still don't
I'm just
think
trying to save your parlay.
There you go. I
There's
still
no
don't
saving
think
my parlays. I went 0 for 10 last week.
9 points is an awful lot for an Oklahoma team that has sucked since beating Nebraska.
Iowa State is not a bad team. They're a 16-point underdog at Texas.
Yeah, I still don't trust Texas. I think Oklahoma's bad.
How about Illinois getting 6.5 at home to Minnesota, who has Muhammad Ibrahim back, though?
They have Muhammad Ibrahim back, and then the other factor of that game is Tommy DeVito, their starting quarterback. I don't know if it's been confirmed or not yet, but he was questionable coming into this game because he suffered an injury last week. So that makes a huge difference. If it's Art Sitkowski, I'm probably taking Minnesota in the points. But if it's Tommy DeVito, I would take Illinois. I don't know who's going to win that game, but I would take Illinois. 6.5 is a lot for Minnesota. So keep an eye on the injuries before you place that bet. Or maybe just stay away from it altogether.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it when the Greek comes on. But Indiana, we got to take a break. But, yeah, Indiana said that's just ugly at 11.5.
Yeah.
Hey, we got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you live from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios Annex as we are at Bibi's Market here in Bloomington, where you can get all of your pregame tailgate needs taken care of and plenty of other great dishes. You can just come in here and sit down and eat for that matter. But don't forget, we're brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. It could be the difference between you getting the home you want or not, or if you're in the Louisville, Southern Indiana, Floyd, Clark, Harrison, Scott counties, that area down, the entire Southern Indiana area. They have served that area for 3 decades. Barbara at barbarapop.com, or Matt Lincoln, Matt at barbarapop.com. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore. That's tough. It's so good.
Is that Ebonics?
The biscuit fell apart.
Oh, okay.
It was so good. So
I've got your I got what you requested.
okay, can you send that to me? Because I want to tweet that one out.
Oh, sure.
Michael, Elijah, I stayed, if you can ever get a cabin, it's called Carter's Kaleidoscope Cabin. I think it sleeps 4 people. They allow pets. Carter's Kaleidoscope, you're up in the mountains. You have a great view. Incredible. If you can lock that up, you probably won't be able to do it this time of year, but that's a great place. Tebow in a heated pool at Jellystone Campground in Cave City. Is Cave City in Kentucky?
Yep.
I believe so, yeah.
Nice.
Down by Mammoth Cave and Horse Cave.
There's a Jellystone Park, though, in Bloomington.
I used to work really close to, or I don't know if it was in Cave City or right next to Cave City.
How about Big Bone Lick? I mean, who was in charge of naming that? That was terrible.
Big Bone Lick State Park.
Talk about things that don't age well.
Oh, man.
Dwayne says, whatever Jim bet, go with the opposite. That's pretty
lying.
Hey, when I was in Buffalo, I used FanDuel for the first time because betting's not legal down here. I also went to a casino for the first time, and, man, I saw some really fun characters there.
Well, you got people that are riding their paychecks.
Unfortunately, I didn't come away with anything, but I stuck to my $20 limit that I gave myself.
I have never gambled. No plan.
I didn't think I ever would, but the
Are you
opportunity
serious?
was too close to where we were
I'm
at.
dead
So I was
serious.
like, why not?
All this talk we do, and you've never gambled?
Nope.
Does Jeffrey know that?
He might.
If not, he's going to, is what he's saying.
Well, there's a reason.
How much time we have?
Yeah, fair enough. We
How
got
much time
15
we-
seconds. 15.
Damn.
All right, here we go.
0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit as we're here at Bibi's Market, of course. Brought to you by our good friends at Feast Market and Cellar, located right next door to Patterson and Rogers. Great selection of wines with a sommelier on staff to help you make your selections perfect. Welcome back. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com with me here, Jim Coyle. John, the producer. It is Friday. We've got some clips from Big Ten Media Day. We're going to hear a couple from Mike Woodson. I'm going to let them roll back to back. And if I'm not here when you get back, John, just go right into the trace one. But here's Mike Woodson talking about beating the odds of when he was first named coach and chasing Big Ten titles and how the things have changed from the time he got here till now.
It's a big-time love. I mean, really, because it was you guys that said, hey, he was too old, he can't recruit, he's been away for 42 years. I mean, all the negative things that you could say about a guy that's so much interested in this job. And I was able to beat those odds and get the job. And I don't think I'm too old. And I think we've done a pretty good job in recruiting. And only time will tell, once you start playing. And I never was away. You guys just didn't know it. I was always back.
I don't know about you, Dustin, but I really loved just the way that the attitude with that. He just felt I can't tell if he was just more so enjoying the moment of talking about it or if he was just, I don't know, relishing and proving people wrong. It was kind of a mixture of everything.
I think it was a little bit of both. Like, I think it gives him a reason to go out and prove everybody wrong. Like, it gives him a purpose. Not that he doesn't want Indiana to be good. That's not what I'm saying on his own accord. But I think it adds a challenge to him that he hasn't faced before. And when you're a coach and when you're a competitor, that's something, you're always looking for the challenge. And again, he had some success last season. For them to beat Purdue at home, which is something they hadn't done in, I think, 9 tries, for them to get a win against an Ohio State team that was pretty good, to get to the semifinal run and come away a buzzer beater from Jordan Bohannon.
Beat Michigan team that they had lost 8 straight to.
Yeah. To win those games, to get on the cusp of the Big Ten championship game or Big Ten tournament championship game, a tournament that they have not played well in. I think Mike Woodson is a confident guy, but I think last year's success gave him even more confidence. And I agree with you, John. I think he's relishing in the fact that he's proven some people wrong.
Oh yeah,
and I think he's just having some fun with it. Think about this. He was in the NBA for so long, and I think the NBA would be. There's positives and negatives, but you're dealing with a lot of ego in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He gets to be himself. He has to do some player management, but these are kids. It's a completely different thing. I think he's latched onto some of that youth. I think this younger coaching has given him a sense of, recharging the batteries a little bit. He's got that youth going on for him now. He's drawing off their energy.
Yeah, Mike speaking Woodson, of challenges, too, I'm sorry, Jim.
I was just going to say he's gone from beating the odds to being the Big Ten favorite.
Exactly.
So talk about him relishing in that. Well, there's nothing bigger you can relish in than coming in, being a guy that's being talked about, saying, oh, he's too old, can't recruit, yada, yada, yada. And the following season, you come in chest all puffed out because you're the Big Ten favorite, baby. You've got the preseason player of the year. What are they going to say?
Well, let's hear what Mike had to say about not obviously he's only had 1 season, but there's now expectation to win that Big Ten title. Let's hear his thoughts on that.
Well, that statement that I made wasn't based on the fact that, somebody said to me, well, you still got to win a Big Ten title. You're right, I do. But that statement was based on what I remembered as a player. And now that I'm the coach, it hasn't changed. The fan base is still as big as ever. We just got to do our part and win. That's what they were accustomed to, man. And when I said that, that's what I was basing it on, man. And I still mean that. I truly do. Indiana is it doesn't get much better than Indiana basketball if you're winning. I mean, that's what they expect, and they show more love and respect for our players. And my walk in life there in Bloomington has been so good, man. I mean, coming back, it has been.
That was Mike Woodson, Indiana head basketball coach, talking kind of about the statement that he made at Hoosier Hysteria, if you recall that. Indiana, excuse my language, but Indiana basketball is the, fill in the blank. He ain't lying. It has been, but it has not been that way for a long time. But that's what he remembers, and that's what he's trying to get it to, and he's getting it there pretty quickly. If you look at Hoosier Hysteria, the entire main level was full. So that's something that Indiana fans should be happy to see. Was that all of Mike Woodson? John?
Yeah, unless you want to go into the Indiana-Kentucky stuff again.
I'll save that for a little later. But actually, let's go ahead and play that one now instead of separating him. All this talk about the Indiana-Kentucky series, I asked Mike about that specifically on the show the other day. He didn't drop any bombs, but everybody keeps saying, hey, that this and that. Here's what Mike Woodson had to say.
Well, again, we're not there yet. There's been some talks, and sometimes talks can turn into something good. So we'll continue to communicate and see where it takes us.
What's the quickest you could ever imagine that happening?
Hopefully the next 2 or 3 years.
So there you go. That's coming directly from Mike Woodson. Now, that doesn't mean this can't get done for next season. I'm not saying that. But that comment, along with the fact that the Kansas series is a one-time home-and-home series that's already about to be halfway through that one. So I could see the Kentucky series replacing Kansas and beginning when that one is up. Maybe it starts next year. I'm not saying that it can't, but there you go.
I get the sense that Mike Woodson, he is a former player. He's now the head coach. He loves Bloomington. He loves Bob Knight, all that stuff. I get the sense that he really wants that series back.
Oh, hell yeah, he does. Who doesn't? There's no IU fan that does not want that series back.
But I think he's also relentless. I think he's the kind of guy that would call the UK athletic director, John Calipari, every single day to say, we need to get this back.
That's where I disagree with you, because although he does feel that way, he's not going to bow down to anybody. It's like, hey, you know what? Screw you if you want to play. We're going to play Kansas. We're going to play Arizona. We're going to play North Carolina. We want to play you because it is a natural, geographical, long-standing rivalry that should happen for college basketball because it's good for college basketball. But we're not going to sit there and beg you. I mean, Kentucky thinks Indiana needs them. Indiana does not need Kentucky. What the hell do they need Kentucky? Ratings? No. Indiana is one of the top programs that is brought on to games. They are usually the program that is broadcast more than anyone in the Big Ten. There's a reason for that. They are a brand. They're a marquee brand. Does it help? Yeah, of course. It's a great matchup. But anytime you see a clash of the Titans, Indiana, Kansas, Indiana, Arizona, Indiana, North Carolina, who's not going to watch that game? Indiana, right. Kentucky, a long-standing, perfect rivalry, border rivalry. It's just you can't make that stuff up. And for those two programs to have both been so successful in basketball and not be playing because somebody's got a case of the red ass, he's got his ego hurt because he got his butt kicked when he was the number one team in the country. Get over it. Get over yourself. He's making himself more important than not only every Indiana fan, but every UK fan. You think UK fans don't want this? You're out of your mind. They want it too. Some of them will act like they don't because they think they're superior. And I had this conversation online with somebody the other day. I'm like, you know what? I can't imagine Kentucky fans not wanting this series. It's just natural, number one. Number two, there are some that will act like they don't because they feel this air of superiority. what I got to say to that. This game happens, and it happens within the next 2 years.
The feeling of superiority reminds me of some folks, but we'll save that for a different conversation. But I don't think it's a matter of either school needing the other. But my point is, I think Mike Woodson wants it to happen. So therefore, I don't think he's going to let John Calipari off the hook. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter that they don't. I don't know that they like. I don't know how to properly make this point. So
it's going to happen.
But
yeah, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I agree with you in part, up to the part where they're not going to chase. It's like, hey,
No.
It's going to happen, and it's going to happen within the next 2 years. There's my prediction. You heard it from Mike Woodson. That was at just 2 days ago at Big Ten Media Days, and there's been so much chatter about this series.
Not only that, but he would not have given you a specific timeline if there wasn't some rumblings about it in the first place. He's not going to say 2 to 3 years if they have had no conversation about when it might start. You know what I'm saying? Like if they were just in talks and they hadn't had some sort of penciled in type of situation, he would have just said, maybe we get it, maybe we don't. It might be in the future. It could be 3 years, could be 10 years.
Yeah.
But the fact that he said in the next 2 to 3 years makes me think that there is something essentially penciled in. It's just a matter of dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Like I said, I like that 2 year mark because the Kansas series is a home and home, and not that couldn't be continued, but it's currently contracted as a one-time home and home and forth. Caleb noting that's why the game at Gonzaga's gym isn't until 2027. There you go. I didn't realize it was that far out.
I didn't know they scheduled games that far out in basketball.
Oh, yeah. And it's not at the Gonzaga's gym. They're playing in Spokane.
No, I think he's mistaken. That's this year. They're playing in Spokane this year.
Oh, okay.
There's another one down the road where they're actually going to Gonzaga as well.
So they are going to actually go to there. Because, see, this year they wouldn't do that. They made them play in downtown Spokane in the arena that's there, not Gonzaga's arena. And someone also put out some information that they looked up how many games Kentucky had played in gyms less than 6,000 over the last 30, maybe 40 years, because they won't go to these places. And it was single digits.
That's shocking.
Single digits. They won't do it. They're so afraid to put themselves in harm's way. Go ahead.
Time out. Who goes to gyms that are smaller than 6,000 people?
Look, Chef Kyle, hold on. I got to interrupt you.
Okay,
late breaking news. Chef Kyle back in here. Look at gee whiz. All right, Chef Kyle, what is this?
This is our Stackers, the biggest breakfast sandwich we have. Ham, egg, and cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, and then we got a bagel making jam that goes on the top. 3 pieces of French toast covered in powdered sugar.
How you like that? How you like that, Dustin?
I'm not looking.
Gotta get that. Get that. Woo!
Good luck.
Oh my God!
I hope you're not full.
Can you smell that? Can you smell what the cow is cooking?
I can imagine what it smells like.
Oh my God! No, you can't.
Hey, so back to what we were saying about the Gonzaga thing. Caleb has a follow-up. Says they're playing in 2027, 2 games at Rupp, 4 neutral, 1 at Gonzaga. So they've got 7 games coming up against each other.
That's I did not know that they had that many.
That's a very long-standing series they've got going on.
Here's the thing. I will criticize Kentucky and Coach Calipari as much as the next person, but the thing about gyms in less than 6,000 people, how many power programs do that anyway? There can't be very many.
That's true. And why would you want to go to one that's small?
Right.
I get it, but it's just the point being they don't go to other people's places if they don't have to.
Right.
They at all costs they try to avoid that.
What would be more interesting to me is how many times they've played a top 25 team or somebody of that caliber in a true road game, a non-conference.
Well, I expect the IU Kentucky series to resume at Gainbridge I don't know. Gamebridge or
do you think it'll be similar to the Gonzaga where they do
Lucas
home and
Oil.
home, but they do also 3 neutral, maybe 1 home and home?
I don't know, Gamebridge or Lucas Oil. They turn Lucas Oil on the side and
oh God, please no.
It won't. I don't think it would draw, not for a regular season game. And I also think so. What they're doing with
I'm
Louisville,
not talking about filling Lucas Oil. When you don't use the football field, you turn it across the end zone.
Well, so what they did with Louisville a few years back, they did the 1 neutral, 1 home and home. I think you'll see the exact same thing with Kentucky because and that they played that one in Gamebridge, or what is it called? Is Gamebridge what it's called now? Well, it was formerly Bankers Life. So
yes,
there you go.
Yep. Hey, we got
Jeffrey
lots
in the green
more.
room.
Got Jeffrey the Greek in the green room. That means the red zone's coming up. We got plenty more coming at you. Brought to you by our good friends from Metalworks Brewing Company, part of the Wow Club. The Metalworks beer truck will be out and about. Not about. It'll be out at the tailgate area at Memorial Stadium this weekend as well. There on the corner. So look for that. It's a cool-looking old refrigerated truck, Dodge, with a brand-new 12-valve Cummins engine in it, baby. It's bad. Hey, we got lots more coming up from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Mobile here at Bibi's Market with the Red Zone. Jeffrey the Greek joins us right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Hey, this is John.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming out.
Good morning, JTG.
How we doing, folks?
We're doing great.
The Greek.
Doing great.
You know, I was sitting here thinking.
Hey, let me just tell you, I went 0 for 10 last week. I don't know.
That's tough to do. That is really tough to do.
I don't know how it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is possible. I truly don't. I'm like, this is just
I know.
incredible.
Sometimes you get so cold, you're just like, you feel like you should just bet the opposite.
Oh my gosh. I felt like I was still in Minneapolis.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for looking me up, prick.
Are you in Minneapolis?
I'm in Plymouth. I'm 10 minutes away.
Man, I don't know that.
He forgets you don't live in Iowa.
That is no lie. That ain't a lie.
That makes sense.
I was downtown.
That's a good setup right there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I always look at Dustin's setup and I'm like, oh man, that's so good. And I'm like, wait, I could do.
I like how you got Big Kurt's Illinois helmet behind you too, with the two facing each other. That's nice.
Yeah, try to do that.
Wait a minute.
I always try to do that.
Oh, the little helmets. The little helmets. Yeah. I see them.
I always try to do that too. And
the little helmets that could.
To encourage him to keep. Encourage him to keep coming over to record, but now that his Fighting Illini are doing good, I might throw that thing in the dumpster.
Hey man,
I tell you, as much hate as the West gets, I love how it's just it's just a fight every year. You never know who's going to be the best team in the West.
Well, I mean, people just complain to complain because obviously, the same teams win other divisions and people complain about that. Then there's parity in another division and people complain about that. So
I don't know if you call it parity. It's parity. It's
starting early.
It's parity of average football. Yes.
I'll be right back, John.
Good God. He said, by the way, earlier he said below average earlier. JTG, if you want that.
I did not say that.
Dustin, maybe Dustin wanted to vouch for me on that one.
That is not what I said. I said average or above average.
Maybe that is how it was worded.
UK has lost their last 3 true road games.
Yeah, here we go. 10 seconds.
Memberships available, so go to eaglepoint.com right now and get yours today.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios Annex here at Bibi's Market here in Bloomington on College. Place where you can stop by, get all your pre-made tailgating needs or make them yourself. Great meats that I have been eating every day. Last night it was the sun-dried tomato marinated chicken, Jeffrey.
Ooh, nice.
It was very, very delicious. And you've been missing out this morning. I've been teasing Dustin. Look at this, just load of deliciousness.
Nice.
That's 3 pieces of French toast. I see bacon, egg, ham. Oh, it's nuts.
And as soon as Greek logged in, we've got the Tinder people back in the YouTube chat here.
Well, they love him. He's that's because he keeps calling them.
I'm glad that app missed me. Otherwise, I might not be here today. I was married right. I was getting married right when that came out. Otherwise, I'd probably be dead.
When I was a TV sports anchor, I was out in Washington State and an anchor at one of the other stations. This is back when those 900 numbers were big,
Oh, jeez.
He called those from the television station, from his television station, and would sit on there for hours.
Huh.
And I'm like, how does this dude keep his job?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I'm like, yeah, nuts. College football, man, trotting along. We're in week 7. Your Big Ten West has been fun, but very fun. A lot of questions still. The Hawkeyes, tough loss to Illinois last week. Bielema has got them believing. And they are a threat to win the Big Ten West.
Yeah, no doubt. I think everybody's weirded out by the fact that, Northwestern, to a certain degree, Iowa and Wisconsin are middle to bottom of the Big Ten West right now. But hey, variety is the spice of life. You got Beetle with his Illini. You got Purdue. You got Minnesota. They're at the top. I refuse to believe Nebraska is actually a contender until I see something.
They are not
this
a contender,
weekend.
and anybody says that is just.
Hey, you don't broadcast in Lincoln or Omaha.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
But even if I did, I'd say it right now. They're not a contender. Not this year.
Well, let's start.
You're not a contender.
Well, let's start there if we could. With that being said, Nebraska at Purdue. Dustin and I joked on our podcast. That should be a crazy game. I said it reminds me of 2 20-year-olds sitting across the table from each other, pounding shots to see which one does the stupidest crap first in the game. That's probably what that football game will be. Great Saturday night game. I think it'll be a blast.
What is the spread on that, by the way?
It's right at 13 and a half. 13. Yeah.
What's Nebraska? I wrote that Illinois.
So I like that to be a good game. The bet I like the most in that game is the under, because I feel like it could be, somewhat of a close, sloggy game that stays under the game total. Or I think there's a chance Purdue wins that 38-13, where they basically just shut down Nebraska's offense. People forget, but Nebraska was shut out the entire first half versus Rutgers. And Rutgers has got a good defense, but not that good, not shut out, the team good. And I think Purdue actually has about as good of a defense as Rutgers does. And certainly they have a lot better offense than Rutgers. So maybe the bet is actually just taking Purdue to cover the 13 or 14. I don't know.
I don't like it because I was more confident in Purdue covering before we had the podcast. And then afterwards, when you made the comment that Purdue hasn't put anybody away, that makes me nervous about a 14-point spread. But I could see I could see Purdue running away with it. What makes me nervous is I don't think that those two teams are on the same level, but Nebraska is playing with a lot of confidence. They're going on the road, which I think sometimes teams play a little bit looser. So that's what
their bubble gets broke
as opposed to the line on that.
Yeah, I think their bubble gets burst this week.
No,
they got to play an Indiana team that was a get right game, and a little confidence after that. But it's time to come back to reality now.
I agree with you, Jim. If you put a gun to my head, that is my take. And then the second I say that, I think about Purdue doing something silly, some decision that Braum makes late in the game on a play call, like why would you be aggressive there, throw it there, something like that. And it leads to pick six or something, fumble six or something like that, because it's both turnovers and penalties that has prevented Purdue from being. I mean, let's be honest; they should be 6-0 right now without penalties or turnovers. Excuse me. So I like teams show their. We're halfway through the season. Like these teams have shown their personality at this point. So like there's no witch doctor. No lobotomy that's coming for these teams at this point. For the most part, this is who they are. So it just makes me skittish picking Purdue to cover.
Here's what would be interesting about that game, especially if it's a close game. You saw what happened in that Syracuse game. Purdue isn't very good about letting the other team just talk and letting it go. And I don't know that there's a team that has more confidence with their mouth than Nebraska. I'm being serious. That could be a factor in that game late.
That is a phenomenal point. I wish I could suddenly now bet the over-under on how many personal foul calls there are in this game.
Exactly.
That is something to watch for this game. That is a great point, Diaz.
And this game what's the spread on that game again?
Right around 13.5.
13.5. So, that's going to be just fun. With Minnesota and Illinois, that is going to be – does Minnesota have their quarterback?
Yeah, Minnesota has their quarterback. Illinois is who I don't think they'll have their starter touchdown, Tommy DeVito.
Oh my God! How do you not? Minnesota's a 6.5 point underdog. How do you just not
favorite? They're a favorite.
Oh, they're minus 6
favorite.
Even
and
that.
But it's at Illinois as well. Hey, the Illinois defense has not allowed a touchdown at their house this entire year. Now,
who have they played at home?
Not the greatest teams, but dude, that defense has looked good pretty much all year long.
Did they give up rushing touchdowns to Indiana?
Their second game of the year on the road.
The worst rushing team in Division I football. I don't
remember.
Man. I'm messing.
The game-winning touchdown was Deshaun Shivers' run up the middle.
It was a 1-yard run. I'm just messing, man.
Right. But I think the stats speak for themselves. You don't get 6 games in the season, and they're number 1 in scoring defense and number 2 in rushing. It's all over the place. So that's why in quite honestly, I think it's kind of crazy how high the spread is to a certain degree. But I think people Art Sikowski is the quarterback that'll step in for Tommy DeVito, and I think that's what the line is showing you.
Dustin?
Yeah, I agree. Both of these teams have given up 20 points or more one time through 6 games. They're through 11 games total, I guess. So I just can't – I think that's going to hold true, and I think the difference is going to be the fact that Illinois doesn't probably have its starting quarterback. But I still don't like either team to break 20, so it's hard for me to I would bet the under on this game, and I would bet Illinois to cover the spread. I don't know that they're going to win, but I just don't see a lot of points in this game. So the under seems like the best bet. I think my total, the over-under was 39. I think I had them at 35 or 36 points in that game. I really like the under there.
And I've seen numerous people across, guys that I follow and shows that I've watched that aren't Big Ten guys, and they're picking the under as well. People are on this under. They understand how good these defenses are, how limited the Illinois offense is. So I actually picked Illinois to win this, Minnesota to win this game 20-13, which is a half-point cover for Minnesota. But more I look at it, I feel better about the under than I do either one of these teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, my app doesn't let me bet like the under and the spread in a parlay.
In a single game.
Oh, it is allowing that. It is allowing that. Never mind. So
there you go.
I took the under and mini mouse.
So you took the under. You took the under, but Minnesota to cover.
Yes.
All right, that's kind of dancing between the raindrops there. Good luck.
Well, or I can just take them to win.
That's one way to do it.
Money line would probably be safer. I think.
Yeah, money line and under would be the way I'd do it.
Indiana hosting Maryland, where the Hoosiers are an 11.5-point underdog at home. New offensive line coach Rod Carey, who is no stranger to college football, to offensive lines, to Indiana, to the Big Ten. If you're going to make a move, which they needed to do this a long time ago, I will say this was a good move by Tom Allen.
Absolutely.
It just
Shout
took
out.
too damn long.
Well, shout out to head coaches that will make changes mid-season to try to improve upon a offensive unit. Anyways, I digress. I tell you what, my spidey sense is going off on this game. I think Tom Allen is going to have them ready to play. It's a home game, second home game in a row. Maryland is gettable. They're good. I think Maryland is overall a better football team than Indiana, but they're gettable. I think Indiana really wants to make a bowl game. I think they're obviously smart enough to know that if they would happen to lose this game, the chances of getting to a bowl have decreased by a lot. I think Maryland's going to get all they can handle from the Hoosiers tomorrow.
I agree and disagree. I just think when I look at this, and I've made this comment on every podcast, every radio show I've done, I just think that this is a worse matchup for Indiana's defense than Michigan because I think they can throw it around. I don't think Indiana's secondary is very good. I think we've gotten to a point in the season where you expected if it's going to turn around, it would turn around by now. It hasn't. They're just not good. And I don't trust them against Maryland's receivers, against Taulia. And I just still think I feel like Mike Locksley just really hasn't put his foot on the throat yet. He hasn't had that opportunity. And like I said, 3 or 4 plays in, I expect Maryland to take a shot 50 yards down the field, try to set the tone. And I think that after that, I think Maryland can kind of run away with this. So I don't know. I agree. I think Indiana's going to show fight. I just think the matchup and the scheme is so advantageous for the Terps that I just don't know that Indiana's going to stick around.
I agree with all those points, hence the 11-point line. In my mind, that's Vegas saying the same thing. Like, how about 11? They don't know. So, that's where, to me, it's just when I see those goofy 11 to 12 and a half, that's the goofy range, 11 to 12 and a half. I swear somebody should do a study on no matter the teams, no matter who's playing where, how many times the 11 to 12 and a half dog team covers just because of that silly, ridiculous line. That's just the degenerate gambler in me. That's why I'm taking Indiana in those goofy points.
Oh, you are. So you're taking the Hoosiers and the 11.5.
Yep.
There you go. So
yeah,
what's the price? Well, they shocked a lot of people last week against the number 4 team in the country, playing Michigan as a 22.5-point underdog.
I think people are poo-pooing that a little too much. I know it was the Sleepy Bloomington effect on Michigan to a certain degree. Certainly Michigan had that weird situation on the sidelines with Mike Hart. I do think those things play. Don't get me wrong, but on my second watch, I mean, I really do like Indiana's offensive coordinator. A better offensive
on him this year.
No, a better offensive line, maybe a little bit better quarterback. And I think there's even more points and maybe even a win on the board for Indiana. But Maryland is not so great defensively that Indiana can't take shots. So I got a lot of points in this game. I got 40-30 Maryland, Indiana, which is a 1-point cover for Indiana. But
really?
Does Maryland have no
defense?
I mean, it's okay.
Zero defense.
It's okay.
Their pass rush is not great, so Indiana's poor offensive line might be able to keep them. Might be able to keep Connor Bays, give him a little bit more time. As Mitchell said, he might get 3 seconds instead of 2.5.
Hey, that could make a big difference right there.
62 points from the over and under.
Let's.
So
Sometimes
you're
you
on the
gotta.
over, man.
Sometimes you gotta love life, and just
Let
bet
it
the over.
ride. Let it fly, baby.
As they say, life's too short to bet the under. So I don't know. This would be a fun one to see if you can push it over.
Open the cage and let that eagle fly. Okay, Wisconsin, Michigan State.
Let's
Number one.
break first.
We need to take a
All
break.
right, we'll take a break but when we come back, not only do we talk about the spread of this game, but who's a bigger surprise this year? Michigan State going down or the Illini up?
Sure. Yep.
Back with plenty more. Jeffrey the Greek is with us. Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com. Jeffrey the Greek, of course, from Eyes on the Big Podcast. Jim Coyle here with you. Brought to you by Cabello Restaurant, located on the square in Bloomington. Taste the traditions of Southern Italy right here in Southern Indiana. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting,
Dustin, you heading out?
No, actually, I have today off, so I can stay the full
Oh,
time.
sweet. Good
But
stuff.
they've got games this year, too, though.
But Monday,
Hey, I can't get that off the screen there, by the way. It's
What are you
not
talking
showing
about?
on the comments. Is it still there?
oh
No, I
yeah, the
don't see
Tinder stuff
anything.
is there.
Oh, you mean that? I thought you meant something was on the.
I can't get it. It keeps
live.
telling me
I've
that-
got it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay, it just keeps telling me an error occurred.
Yeah, mine's doing the same thing. It'll go away eventually.
I wish we could report those jackasses.
I thought John did, but they just keep coming back.
Yeah,
Like
but
it's-
there's only
They
so
have
much
a
you can
million- they have
Oh,
a
they
million-
just—it's bots, dude. It's bots. They just
right.
keep creating. They're Russians. They're hacking. Even Russians are listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, baby.
do. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
You gotta love it.
We will win this for Mother Russia.
Jeffrey,
That's a pretty good Russian accent right off the cuff there, Johnny. I like it.
Jeffrey, you probably didn't hear that we found out last month that we hit 1 million views already just on YouTube.
Nice. That's fantastic.
And
It's
we started
incredible.
YouTube
It's
back in
year ago.
January of last
year.
That-
Just started last year and hit 1 million
Yeah.
views just on YouTube already. I was
We
like,
can
wow.
we can check where people download on our podcast. It's crazy, it'd be like, who the hell is listening to the Eyes on Big podcast in Indonesia? But
I got Cambodia and
Yeah.
Indonesia, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
I mean, I'm
Australia,
assuming it's people that are traveling
Service
or
members?
service. Yeah, service.
That's a good
people,
call.
so.
I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. I always just think it's people who accidentally click on it. That's what I always
Hey, I
think.
wish I could get on the Armed Forces Radio Network. If they still have that, that'd be great. Yeah, baby. We're working on
Mike
getting
says
on.
it's Jim's new GF, the sign stealer. You need to tell Jeffrey real quick when we come back about the sign stealer.
Oh, I saw it. I
Oh,
saw
you
it.
did? Okay.
Yeah. That's why I knew that Jim was in town and he didn't look me up. But that's fine. I'm not bitter about it at all.
I am. I have another my friend from college there that he couldn't make it down. I didn't realize.
When were you here? What course?
The Big Ten basketball media days.
Did you golf here?
No, I was just only there for Big Ten basketball media.
All right, here we go.
Oh,
Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Friday, brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. If you're down in southern Indiana, right off of I-65 on Veterans Parkway, everything made fresh daily. Pizza, burgers, beer, and they've got about 50 TVs in that place. Great to watch a game. Welcome back, of course, the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios mobile unit here at Bibi's on this Friday. Game day festivities. It's the Red Zone, of course, with Jeffrey the Greek from Eyes on Big Podcast and Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com. A question I have, especially Mr. Big Ten West for you, Jeffrey, is what's a bigger story because this actually involves both, but the rise of the Illini or the fall of the Spartans, because I don't know which is more surprising to me, because I think Illini have gotten a little lucky with the Big Ten West being a very down year. You don't have this great team at the top, where you don't have this Wisconsin really or Iowa is not as strong as they can be. The fact that Illinois is fighting for a Big Ten West title says enough. But the fall of Michigan State, I'm like, what in the hell happened there? He killed it in the portal. He came in and boom, and now they look like Indiana. They're fall off from their good season.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I like to err towards the positive story. It seems like everybody always likes to err towards the negative. So to me, it's the rise of Illinois. Beetle coming back home to his home state, just doing things how he's always done them, and it's working. With any success, there's a little bit of luck typically wrapped up into it, but they were 3-0 out of conference. They absolutely demolished the three teams that they played out of conference. So it's not like all of their wins have come against the Big Ten West. I would also say that if Illinois and Indiana played right now, I would very much, think that Illinois would win that game. On the other side, I think some people saw the fall of Michigan State coming. I picked 7-5 for Michigan State, which is 3 wins down from where they were at last year. At one point, I had 5-7 down. One of the first drafts I did for Michigan State, and I'll admit the combination of that being drastic and Michigan State fans I knew would get torches and come after me. I raised them back up. But long story short is I think everybody assumed it was, or not everybody, but many people outside of East Lansing assumed that it was going to be tough for Mel Tucker and Michigan State to stay at the level they were at last year.
I give a political answer to this in that, I think they're both equally surprising because of the fact of the extreme. I would have never thought at this point Illinois would be 5-1, and looking and having the best defense against some of the teams they played, having the best defense in the Big Ten statistically, and then Chase Brown, I think, playing at a Heisman Trophy caliber level, legit over 800 yards this season. And then you look at the other side. I agree with you. I thought Michigan State was going to be closer to 500 this season, but the fact that they look so bad, I mean, to me, they are Northwestern level bad. And maybe that's giving Northwestern too much credit, but I don't know who they're. You look at Michigan State, maybe they can beat Rutgers, maybe they can beat Indiana. I don't see another win on their schedule.
Which maybe, if you don't mind, Jim, I mean, that leads us right into the Michigan State-Wisconsin game. I mean, DS just brought up great points there, which is if Michigan State has a soul this year, some teams don't for whatever reason, the soul gets sucked out of them. But if they do have a soul remaining, it will rise up at home this week and try to get the victory versus Wisconsin. Because I tell you what, not unlike Indiana fighting for bowl contention, Michigan State is fighting for bowl contention right now. And if it doesn't beat Wisconsin, it's hard for them. It's hard for me to find enough wins on their schedule to make it to the postseason. So one would think also this is a hard-fought game for Michigan State.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like one of those watershed moments of the season. You win, your season may go just this direction, or win, you can guide your season in a better direction. Like you said, looking for bowl eligibility. So you lose, man, now doubt starts creeping in, disappointment starts creeping in, guys thinking about the portal starts creeping in. It's just all kinds of things that go bad when things kind of go sour. So this is one of those points that man, we've seen this happen. And it surprises me. I'm just surprised how quickly they turn.
So if you're a positive Sparty fan, you're hoping you've pretty much eaten through the rotten peach, as they say, because of the bad losses, and you've got Ohio State, the loss in the rearview mirror. So if you can get Wisconsin and get the win, suddenly you're like, hey, we've had Michigan's number in the past. Penn State isn't unbeatable. Like, you know, you've still got the bad teams, in the East that are still left. So like there is some decent stuff still left out there, but switching to the game, unfortunately, I just don't see it. Like Dustin pointed out, I just don't think they have the ponies this year, you know, and he correctly pointed out the lines, you know, the D line and the O line, not to steal your thunder, DS, but I think Michigan State's offensive line is going to struggle versus Wisconsin's front seven. I don't see a ton of available yards. That the line of 7.5, and then the game total of 49.5. That just speaks to me because I don't understand where all of these points are going to come from either one of these offenses. So that to me says that's Vegas saying nudge, nudge, hint that Wisconsin is the play. So this is one of my harder plays this week is Wisconsin to cover that 7.5.
I agree. We talked about this. I don't think there's a matchup on there where you expect to see a major blowout. And I don't remember if we said this on the pod or if it was afterwards, but if there's a blowout, this is probably the game where it could get ugly because I think Wisconsin hasn't – I think we saw new life. I mean, we saw what we wanted to see from the mentality standpoint out of Wisconsin last week to plow over a bad Northwestern team 42-7. I don't know how much we learned on the field, but I think that Michigan State's in that same sort of category where Wisconsin can impose its will, get a little momentum going. They had some controversy this week. Logan Brown off the team. I don't know. I just get the feeling that this thing is going to, I don't know about get ugly, but I think Wisconsin's going to be in a situation where maybe they don't run away with it, but you never really feel like they're going to lose the game.
That is exactly the game script that I think. It just, they're always going to be in control, and then a late score to, put a little bit of an exclamation point on it. That bingo. That's pretty much exactly what I picture tomorrow.
A couple of Big 12 games.
Whoa! We got one of the biggest games in the country. Can we talk about that one just a little bit? Or
did I not mention
Michigan, Penn State?
Oh, I was kidding. I was talking about that. I thought you were going to talk about. I thought you were going to say Iowa.
No. I was idle this week for the love of God.
I forgot we had not talked about that. Okay, so Penn State at Michigan. It's a 7-point spread. First of all, I don't see them going into Michigan and winning, but was Michigan holding back last week? That is my question. Were they just because Penn State, as Dustin pointed out, has had 2 weeks to prep for this. So what are they going to show if they don't have to playing in the game?
This is Harbaugh and Franklin version 8. This has been a great rivalry in the Big Ten, one that will go down as one of the better coaching rivalries in the Big Ten. Of the last 10 games, these teams are 5-5 versus each other. I looked through those 10 games. It's about as close as can be. There's close games. There's 3 blowouts with 2 to Michigan, 1 to Penn State. If you do the math on all of the games for the last 10 years, it would work out to being 28-24 for the game total, Michigan, Penn State. So and by the way, that just sounds like a Michigan Penn State game. So to me, you're
taking the points then, aren't you?
I am taking the points, and I'll be honest with you. I am the trends, which I don't typically pay attention to. I think trends are overplayed in this one because there's continuity with the Stavs. I think there's something to point at here. So, and I can listen to my Michigan insider, and I start inching towards Michigan. Then I listen to my Penn State insider, and I start moving to Penn State. They are both bringing up excellent points of the game, which to me means I think we're going to get a good game, and you take the available points.
Over under is 50.
I like the under personally. I think I had 24-20 was mine. Which basically we're talking about one team scoring another touchdown in that. And I could see either way. I don't know. I like the defense on both sides. I think the offensive line is a big question mark for Penn State. We've seen them play Purdue, but we have not seen them play. I still think Michigan's defensive line is maybe probably 2 steps above Purdue's defensive line. And then on the other side, the Michigan, J.J. McCarthy, their receivers against Penn State's secondary is going to be an incredible game. That 12 pass breakups per game. That just seems like an incredibly high number.
Right.
I think they can rattle J.J. McCarthy. And I also don't think Michigan's just going to be able to hand the ball off to Blake Corum and get 4 or 5 yards per carry and lean on him as heavily. So that, to me, is why I'm leaning towards the under. Having said that, there's probably going to be a late pick 6 or something that puts this just at the over, something along those lines.
And speaking of, because
I'm going to, just because of using your numbers, Greek, that you just gave me, the over-under has averaged 52 for the last.
Dang it! You just stole my thunder. That is literally what I was going to say. Damn it! I forgot to say that on the podcast, and I was getting ready to say that right now. And you big host usurped me, son of a bee. Oh man, that was the bane of my existence this weekend. As I brought that up to bring it up in the podcast, I freaking forgot, and then Jim just stole my thunder. Great work, Jim, though. Great work.
Let's just run the show back, John. Run the show back. Let's start over.
But isn't that crazy, man? The numbers, and I think they're actually like 52.3. That would be like the over-under for the last 10 years. The over-under set at 51.5. That is hilarious. A lot of things that Diaz just brought up are fantastic points, especially the part about if Penn State is the one that shuts down Michigan's rushing attack for the first time. Does that make Michigan play left-handed? I definitely think that is possible. I just don't have as much faith in these defenses as I think DS does. I don't think there's much difference between Purdue's front seven and Michigan's. Maybe Michigan's is just a touch better, but I think if Purdue had played the schedule that Michigan had up to this point, and they reversed, I think you would see the numbers look a lot similar, for how they are, but reversed. So, I mean, then we talked about J.J. McCarthy, the super soft or freshman or whatever the heck he's labeled as, going against the 12-year senior and Sean Clifford. It's the last time for Sean Clifford to supplant his legacy. And it's one of the first times for J.J. McCarthy to build his legacy. I absolutely love that part of this football game.
So what do you think of this? Taking Penn State and the points, the over, and Wisconsin, and give up the points.
So Wisconsin, I mean, I like all of those. Yeah. I'm never going to put my stamp of approval on a parlay because, there's a reason that they pay out so much because they don't typically hit. But they do hit sometimes, and I would like that one.
Yep. So that one's in.
That one's in.
He's locked up. Trying to go live, 13 here.
We're locking live.
Isn't it crazy that we can do that now? But seriously.
Well, I can't in Minnesota, so.
Oh, well, I
really?
guess. Well, you need to call me. You didn't have to reach out to an old friend then.
And, I've got a friend.
I figured.
Yeah.
He probably charges less than I would.
That was the most Minnesota I have ever heard. I just had to point that out.
Dang it.
Bull.
I spent time trying to resist that accent, and then after 20 years, there's just nothing you can do about it.
You know what?
I love it.
What a boat! Hey, what a boat that Minnesota. What a boat that accent. If you notice, people they don't say about. It's a boat.
Yeah,
it's a boat.
That's kind of a Chicago and Wisconsin thing too.
Dude, I had a TV job, anchor job in Wisconsin once, and someone asked me a question, and there was a woman, and she said, "What a boat!" Something, and I'm like, all I could focus on, I'm like, a boat. I feel like Iowa, Indiana, Ohio. That is the best place for sportscasters and newscasters. That's about as accent neutral as you can.
As much as I hate to say this, I've always heard Nebraska is where the central accent of the country is.
That's because there's no one there. Nothing changes there. Hey, they don't even have 5G there.
We talked about
anyone there.
we talked about water and water earlier today.
Oh no, you talked about wooter and water today because I've never heard anybody call it wooter.
If I may, the only time I hear a Minnesota accent from Greek, it's with one word. Do you have a guess as to what that one word is?
Oh man, I hope it's not water. I don't say water.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a word that is used frequently in terms of football.
We're under a minute, by the way.
All right.
Go. What?
When you say, I can hear it when you say talent. It's like talent.
Talent. Yeah, there we go. Talent.
That is legitimately the only word I have noticed.
I am going to stand in front of my mirror for 45 minutes today saying that word to bust that out. That is hilarious.
What's your lock for the week, Greek? Get a lock. Get a hurry.
I like my favorites are Wisconsin covering. I like the under in the Purdue Nebraska game.
Yeah.
And I forget who they're playing, but I like Clemson covering the touchdown. I think it's Florida State. I think Florida State is butt cheeks, and I think Clemson is rounding into form.
Ah, man, what a great day. We've got to go. I cannot thank everybody enough. As always, it's been a blast. Big thanks to Jeffrey the Greek from Eyes on Big Pod. Make sure you give him a follow along with Big Kurt. Why is he never on with us? Dustin Schutte from Outsider.com is with us every day and cannot preach him. Tell him how much we appreciate him. John, the producer, of course. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? Everybody?
Nope.
So big thanks to Mike Woodson and everyone who we got to work with this week up at Big Ten Media Days. Thank you to those guys, and make sure you go to YouTube. And most of that content is exclusive. No one else is going to have it because we were the only ones there, people. So
can I just say one thing?
Yes.
Hey, it's just always great to be on Friday with this talented crew.
There you go.
We love you. And I love all you guys. I can't thank you enough, and I cannot wait till Monday. Maybe I'll see you at the game tomorrow. But until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.